Mom thinks cat is stalking her son until she gets a closer look.
But before we start, please take a moment to give this video a like, subscribe to HappyWorld, and hit the bell so you'll never miss these great stories.
The creature purred almost like a cat. It followed her son across the yard in the afternoon sun, stalking as it went. She didn't think much of it at first, but when she looked closely, fear thrummed up her spine. She dashed across the porch and grabbed her son, rushing back and quickly locking her door. Katie McCarthy was like most young moms in Lincoln, Massachusetts. She had a perfect family made up of her husband Cody and son Drew. Katie had managed to make a name for herself as a zoologist in Lincoln. Her son had started middle school and Cody had received a promotion at work. Life was perfect, but Katie didn't know this was about to change. Katie had never quite connected with Drew as a mother did with her child. Despite their close-knit family, she found hanging out with her son hard. She tried everything she could to bridge the deep divide between her and Drew, but nothing worked. Trips to the local fair didn't help, nor visits to the movies. Katie was running out of options. Christmas had come to a close and the McCarthy family were fresh from celebrating New Year's. Katie sat on the porch as her son rode around on their neighborhood bike. Katie watched intently, happy that even though Drew seemed withdrawn from her, he was delighted to be in Lincoln. She went into the house to review her work documents, only to hear her son frantically call out for her. Katie rushed through the living room, meeting Drew halfway. The boy was panting, excitement plastered all over his face. "Do we have salami, Mom?" he asked as he zoomed past her, disappearing into the kitchen. Katie wanted to ask him what he needed the food for, given that Drew had eaten not an hour ago. "It's for my new friend," shouted Drew as he ran past her again toward the door. "Ouch, he scratched me," Drew cried, prompting Katie to run outside. Drew knelt on the grass. Katie wondered who scratched him. She couldn't see anyone else in the compound, so she hurried at him, finding 3 pink lines across his tiny palm. She expected to find Drew crying, but was shocked at what he saw. Drew's face was split in a grin, his eyes wide and glued across the road where the bushes shook. "He loved it, Mom," he exclaimed, stunning Katie. Who was Drew talking about, and where was this new friend hiding? Katie's eyes strained around, landing across the road. Something was moving within those bushes. The zoologist in her came forth and she stood up to investigate. Drew held her back. "You'll spook him," he said, almost whining. But if Katie knew better, she should have investigated right then. Drew revealed that his new friend was a cat, stating he'd found it while riding his bike and it had followed him home. How bad could a cat be? Drew was excited about making a new friend and Katie was part of this experience. She wouldn't jeopardize such a massive step in her relationship with Drew. "Salami's not good for cats," she said, seeing this as a great bonding moment. "I'll fetch some milk." Little did she know that Drew's friend was not a cat. Katie got a milk bottle and a bowl, strolled back outside. She never thought she'd connect with Drew because of animals, but here she was, a smile on her face. She came out of the house immediately halting. Her son was heading toward her. A creature was stalking behind him, its head held low and its steps calculated. Katie held in a scream. Katie dashed across the porch and grabbed her son. She sped back into the house and locked the porch door. She closed the main door as well and called her husband, and he wasn't answering. Katie checked the scratch marks on her son's palm. She thought they were safe in the house but realized she made a big mistake. 2 windows beside the porch door were still open. Katie rushed to them, shutting one, but the animal jumped through the other. "That's not a cat, Drew!" she almost cried out when her son began calling the creature. She rushed to him, scooping him up and running upstairs. She rechecked his palm, looking for any signs of infection. What kind of animal was this? Katie's phone rang downstairs. It had to be her husband calling. Her mind raced with escape routes. She had to get down there and fast. Working as a zoologist, she knew the different kinds of felines that wander the state of Massachusetts. What was creeping inside her house was beyond her wildest imagination. She and Drew were in immediate danger. Katie's hurried to her bedroom's computer and video called her husband. "An African serval's running around our kitchen, Cody," she cried into the screen. "Drew's hurt and my phone's downstairs. I can't call animal control." She dashed to the bathroom and fetched a first aid kit. "We're safe here," she told her son, knowing how dangerous servals could be. The creature growled outside the door and Katie jerked up. Drew jumped up onto her and held her tight. Would the animal tear down their room door? "I'm right around the corner. Community outrages as well," Cody's voice came across the computer. The serval began scratching the door, then gave a final growl before quieting down. Sirens rang outside. "I'm sorry, Mom," Drew said, but Katie reassured him that none of this was his fault. Footsteps sounded out downstairs and Katie let out a deep breath. The MSPCA Angles community outreach team captured the serval, restoring order to the McCarthy house. Even though the experience was scary for the McCarthy family, it brought Katie closer to her son as Drew took an interest in wild cats. The MSPCA Angle discovered that the serval named Bruno had been injured for a while. The outreach team organized a surgery for Bruno, after which he would be welcomed as the newest member of the Wildcat Sanctuary in Sandstone, Minnesota.